we are still on Jenkins. Today, we are going to look at how we can configure our pipeline project, which we converted from a freestyle project. So let's see how we are going to do it. Right now, we are looking at a freestyle project. So we'll just quickly convert it to a pipeline project and we can move on from there. So what do we need to do? Let me move this here, okay. Okay, so what we need to do now is to say, this is the project, right? This is the project we want to convert to a pipeline project. The first thing we want to do is to check what we have in here. What do we have? Let's see what we have. Let's see, manage Jenkins. Let's be sure we have the appropriate plugins we need for this project. So let's see the installed plugins, right? Let's type pipeline, right? Convert to pipeline, yes. Pipeline Maven integration plugin, right? We need this as well, right? Let's see, which other one do we need? Okay, this works. So basically, to make this work, we need the Pipeline Maven integration plugin. We also need the convert to pipeline. Very important. Now, what can we do? Let's go back to our dashboard and look for, there's a project, test project. Okay, so we want to come in here. This is the project that we have to work with. So what do we want to do? Let's check what we have here to be sure that the builds are well set up. Okay, we have Git, okay, everything is well set up. We have clean package, we have Sonar, we have clean deploy, okay. I want to add clean to this goal. Clean Sonar. Then what else do I want to do? Okay, deployment. Okay, .wa. Okay, so what else? So that's about all. I think we are fine. This is my URL for Tomcat. So I'm saving this. So what do I want to do? I just want to test, right? Let's build. Before we convert to pipeline, so let's do a test just to be sure everything is fine. Okay. Okay, so that was a success. So what we want to do now is to convert this project to pipeline, right? So we've checked over there, we've seen the plugins that we have that should make this project a success. Okay, so we'll click on convert. We want to click on, let's call this my take dump pipeline. Take dump pipeline. Take dump pipeline. So this is what I want to call it, take dump pipeline. Take dump pipeline. So I do not have a Jenkins file to commit, so if checked, this will generate a Jenkins file and commit it at the root level of the SCM of the initial job. So I don't want to create a Jenkins file, right? So I just want to convert straight away, okay? So I click on convert. So you see the IP address we have here. See the IP address we have, ending in 46. Okay. So let's see what happens. The IP address has changed, right? This is a common thing with conversion to pipeline. So what we need to do is to go copy our correct IP address, right? Which we've done. So we want to come in here and replace this, right? That's not our IP address. We don't know that. So we want to put the correct one. So we see that TechDump pipeline has been created. So TechDump pipeline has been created from those steps we took. Okay. So now that we have this, we want to see what the configuration looks like. Now that we have this configuration, you see, this is what we have, right? This is what we have. For everything we've done, right? So there are actually some shortcomings with this because not all the build steps, right? I can't see all the build steps here, right? I can see all the build steps, but I can't see the post-build steps, right? I can't see my post-build step here. I don't see anything going to Tomcat, right? So that is a limitation. But should that deter us from using this? No, it shouldn't. We can move an extra step beyond this, right? We can look at this, understand it, and try to configure to meet our requirements. So how do we do that? Firstly, it says this script has not been approved, right? That we need to approve it. There are two ways to approve. We can either come in here, right, to modify this file, right? But I don't want to modify this script. So I want to just go to script approval configuration. And also remember that it's very likely that the IP address changes again. So I want to come and put my correct IP address here. Okay. So now that we have this, I want to approve this script, right? So once I approve it, let me close this. Once I approve the script, I want to come back here to apply and save. Let's see what this has generated for us, right? So if we come here and say build now, let's see what we get. You can see the checkout and the build. The build here has been commingled such that we have our MVN package, right? In here, we have our MVN Sonar in here, and we also have our MVN deploy, all commingled within this build, right? Does it achieve our purpose? Yes, to an extent, but does it provide us the robust pipeline we need to see? No, it is limited, right? It is something, but we can build up on this, right? So if we want to build up, how do we go about it? Okay. So what we need to do is that we need to go back to configure and try to understand the Groovy script. So let's go to configure, right? Let's go to configure. So we can see this is the Groovy script. This is how it starts, right? See this here. It closes down here, right? The first one, timestamps, right, that we have here, closes down here, right? You can see the closing. So for this guy here, right, it starts here, right, and closes here. So we have all of this stage. Look at this stage, right? The checkout stage that's checking out from Git, right? So this is what we use for cloning from Git, right? So that ends here. It starts here, it ends here, right? So then the stage starts here where we have the build. See the build? It starts up here, but doesn't end. You see this opening here goes on and on and on and on to close down here, right? This opening goes to close there. So it's just trying to understand what we have here, right? So now let's look at this, right? See the stage that we have here, right? This stage, which is the build, covers this build step, right? You can see a build step. This is a build step, right? Ends here, right? This starts here and ends here. Then another one starts here. You can see this one. It starts here, ends here. Then another one starts here and ends here, right? So the build step here, right, signifies where each step starts, right, and ends. So once we understand this pattern, we will be able to segregate, right? We don't want everything to be commingled. We want them separated, right? And we can see where each of them starts and where they end. So we want to do something. So what we can do is to say, okay, if this starts here, right? This starts here and ends down here, okay? So what we can do is to try to close it up, right? This one that starts here, right? We see where it's ended. It ended here. So we want to do something like this. So this, let's look at each of them. This starts here, right? Opens here. You can see it closes here. It opens here. It closes here. This opens here, right? It shows us where it closes. You can see this one that opens here. This one that opens here. Let's click on it. This one that opens here closes down here. So we can see the relationship, right? This, that, and this ends here, right? So what we want to do is to say, for this guy here, right? We can start something here, right? We can come here, enter, right? We have that up here. We want to create a stage up here and say, can copy this, right? This here, we can paste it here. Once we do this, we want to, this is too long. I can just call this, okay, let me be consistent. We'll figure out that later. can put this and say this is, we can call this quality, code quality, right? That's MVN Sona, right? It opens up here, right? You can see how it goes. It opens here, right? MVN Sona, see it here. It ends there. So if you click on this, see this starts, it ends here. So this one that I've just introduced up here, I want to close it. I want to close it down here, right? Then I want to go down, right? I want to go down and bring this down again, right? This one, I'm introducing this new line. So if I go down here, right? If I come here, I can paste this here, call this different stage, and call this, I can call this stage mine. I can call this mine. That's backup. Backup. Right? Backup to Nexus. Okay. So this opens there. So this is a build step. So with Maven. So I want you to see something. This opens here, right? And closes here. So this can serve for this, right? This is one that would have closed the one at the top before. So, but we have it serving for this. So that's fine. I believe we are okay with this that we've done. Okay, so let's try to save this. Okay, it tells us that this line shouldn't be there. Let's confirm. Let's see. This line that opens here, where does it close? Let's see. This line that opens up there, closes here. Okay, let me see. Let me bring in one more line. Let's bring in one more line. Okay, that line that opens there, closes down there. So let me try to save it now. Let's try to apply and save. Okay, let's assume, let's believe that we've done it right and do a build and let's see what we'll get. Okay, so that was a success. Now, what do we notice? We notice that we've been able to separate all these build steps, right? Instead of having them commingled, right? We now have the build, we have the code quality, and we have the backup to Nexus. So can we add other steps to this? Yes, we can. We can add other steps to this. So what other steps can we add? Let's assume we've done a backup and we might want to say, okay, let's get approval, right? If the backup is fine, let's get it reviewed and approved. So we can add other steps, right? So, but instead of dwelling on that, we can just go ahead and do that, right? It's going to be interesting. So let's see. Let's click on configure, right? We want to add other steps, right? So what have we done? We've come here. we've been able to segregate by understanding these lines, right? So we want to bring in additional lines, right? So if we are bringing in additional lines, we are looking at bringing them, bringing them somewhere here, right? We want to look at what else can we introduce to this, right? We want to introduce maybe like an authorization stage where a manager needs to review before we proceed to completing the deployment. This is a step we did not include in the one we had earlier, but we can bring this in before doing the deployment to Tomcat, as we add in the freestyle version, right? So now what do we want to do? You see, pipeline syntax. This is a very important tool for generating our pipelines, right? Now, what I want to do is to introduce an approval step, right? So to introduce the approval step, let's look at what we have here and see what will be most relevant for this purpose. What will be most relevant for the purpose? So let's see. I'm looking for timeout, enforced time limits, right? Such that the whole build process is paused until it is approved, right? So I want to click on enforce time limits. So when I click on enforce time limits, it brings this, right? So timeout, let's see what this timeout, what it does, right? The length of time which we want to wait before canceling the nested block, okay? So let's say we want to wait for 2 days, right? 48 hours, let's say 48 hours. Here we can set it as hours, right? 48 hours. So what we need to do here is to come down here and click on generate script. So this is the script we need to put a pause, right? Put a pause on the project until that step is completed. So we need this script, right? So I want to copy that, right? Once I copy it, I want us to understand something. Once I copy this, I want to go back here to this line. You know, I've created this space, right? Remember, created this. I want to come here to align with this level, right? This stage. So I want to type stage, right? Let's get guidance from above, right? See, I put in this, I put in this, then it doubles up, right? Because it expects double, right? Then I put TechDom underscore medical, right? Medical services. Let me increase my font size. Okay, medical services. TechDom. Okay, let's go there. TechDom underscore medical underscore app. Right? I want to say space authorization. Okay, authorization. So I want to come out here and put this, right? So once I do that, I want to enter it again to close it down there. So once I do that, I want to, what I copied, right? The script I copied, I want to paste it within here. Okay, but once I do this, see, this is how it comes out. Okay, so this is how it comes out. It tells me timeout, you know. Now I want to click on this, right? I want to do some alignments. Click on this, go back, so that it aligns appropriately to takes it to the right place. I want to click on this as well. back and put it down here. So it aligns appropriately. It has placed it where it should be, right? You see this that opened up here, closes, right? See where it closes? Let me click on here. See where it closes down here? This that opened here, let me click at the back. See where it closes down here. So this is well aligned. So I want to now take a step, right? And say, enter at this point and put in a message, right? You know, there's a pause. What we had before, we create a pause, right? For 48 hours. But we want a message, right? Input, message. Then we'll put colon. Then we'll put this, right? It doubles up. When we press it once, it doubles up, right? Single quotation mark, but it doubles up. So I can put something in the middle, right? So this is a Groovy script. We want to put in, what do we want to put? We want to put in our message. Let's say approve urgently. Urgently. This is the message we want to put. Approve urgently. So once we do this, we want to apply, right? We didn't see any error message, so it means everything is good. Then we save. Okay. Once we save, and let's configure. Let's see what happens when we configure. So I want to have a better view of the screen. See, we've introduced one more step, right? The first thing was we got this as a default. We splitted it right here. Now we want to build now. We've added a step. You can see. So code quality is being done. You can see the backup, right? That's the backup. That will get done now. Backup, getting done. Now, once the backup is completed, you see authorization, right? 48 hours post, right? So let's see what happens. I expect it to, you see, tells us to approve urgently. So it depends on what we want. We want to approve. If we want to approve, we click proceed, right? Then this gets completed. Otherwise, it will remain paused for 48 hours. You can see it's already paused for 34 minutes, right? For 39 seconds, I mean. So if I click on this, the process is completed. It's been approved, right? So this is a step we've added, right? And how did we add the step? We're going to configure. We scroll down to the script, right? We went to the script, and went to the bottom, right? And we clicked on, let me show you. We clicked on pipeline syntax, right? So right now we want to add yet another step. We want to add another step to this process. So the step we want to add now is that which will deploy to Tomcat, right? We want to add a step that will deploy to Tomcat. Okay, now, what do we need to do? We come here, we click on enter. Okay, before we even do this, let's just go to pipeline syntax and set everything up, right? So let's close this. Pipeline syntax. So what do we want to do in pipeline syntax? Let's click on this and look at our options, right? We want to scroll down our options. So what do we want to use? Do we see deploy here or WAR file? Okay, yeah. You see deploy WAR/here to a container. So we want to click on that, right? So our WAR file targets, right? Our WAR file will be target/. wildcard.war, right? So that's where it's going to be, wildcard.war, right? So that's where it's going to be. And let's say we want to save this as, pipeline app, right? Pipeline app.war. Let's say this is what we want it to save as, pipeline app.war, right? So we want to add a container. So we want to select Tomcat 9 point something, right? Tomcat 9 point something. So we have some credentials set up, right, for Tomcat. So we have this deployer, okay? So I want to come to my Tomcat URL. Let me see, do I have Tomcat URL? Yes, I have Tomcat URL. This is what was deployed earlier. Let's just see. Okay, so it's active. This is what was deployed earlier. So I copied my Tomcat URL. So once I copy it, I want to come here to paste the URL, right? So this is the URL. So you need to see all of this and all of this for it to work. Otherwise, it's going to be a fail. Okay, so once we establish this, we are fine with what we see. We want to click on generate pipeline scripts, right? See what pipeline syntax is doing for us. It's able to pull everything together. We don't have to stress our head to achieve this, right? So once we have this, we've generated this, we want to come back here, right? Remember how it is. Remember this last stage, we want to follow the same format. We have expo. So stage, right? I put this once, it doubles up because it expects it. Put a single quote, it doubles up because it expects it. I put my tech DOM following the format up there. Tech DOM. I put my tech DOM underscore medical underscore app space dash authorization. Okay, authorization, no, not authorization this time. Now, release, because I'm deploying to Tomcat, right? I can call this release. Then I come here, right? Back, space, and I open this bracket, and I close it, and I click on enter. So it places it in the right place. Remember what we copied? I want to come and paste it here, right? This is the right position for it, right? I just paste it. That's what we generated from that script, right? So I want to apply, right? And save, right? Now, this is the last step. There's been a step before, which has to do with authorization. And now once it's authorized, what do we expect? We expect a release, right? So let's reduce the size so we can see at a glance. You see where we started? You see how far we went? Then we did this. It was authorized within 43 seconds, right? We had 48 hours, right? But it was authorized within 43 seconds. So let's see what happens next. Let's do a build, right? We have everything set up, I believe. So it starts with that, right? Goes to code quality analysis after the build was completed. Then we can see it's approaching backup, right? Backup is going to happen swiftly. Estimated time, 4 seconds. That's done. Now authorization, paused for 4 seconds, right? So we can just hover above, around it, and we see either we want to proceed or abort. So what happens when we abort? It means we do not want this deployment. So let's explore, right? Let's abort. See, we abort, aborted. It stops right there. We stopped it in its track, right? See, we aborted. Shows that we aborted. So let's run it again. We actually want to see it happen, right? We want to see the next step. So we do a build. Build now. Let's see what happens. The process has started. Process has started. Okay. Code quality is almost done. Okay. Now this time around, we want to approve it. Right? Over it and say proceed. So let's see what happens. You see, released. So we have a success. You can see our project was a success. Let's see what we have. Console output. So let's scroll down to the bottom. You can see deploying. Okay, success.